Hebrews, and today identified as Jews, are the focus of this special video, responding to requests from many of our subscribers. Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. The ancient Israelites, also known as Hebrews, and today identified as Jews, are the focus of this special video, responding to requests from many of our subscribers. Today, we will delve into the ethnicity and physical traits of the ancient Israelites, exploring a topic that intrigues and fascinates many. What did the members of the 12 tribes of Israel actually look like? There are people on the internet, particularly on YouTube, who, due to a lack of in-depth knowledge about the ethnicities of Middle Eastern peoples, claim that the Israelites were a blonde, blue-eyed people, which has no relation to the people of Israel or the Semitic peoples. Others even say that the ancient Israelites were red-haired, arguing that some descendants of Esau, because he is described as red-haired, would also have this characteristic. However, this is a misunderstanding, as the translation of the term describing Esau as red-haired is inaccurate. The correct term would be ruddy or flushed, referring to the complexion of the skin, not the color of the hair. The term used in Genesis 25:25 is the Hebrew word admoni. This term does not mean red-haired with red hair, but rather ruddy or flushed, referring to the skin tone. For example, when Esau was born, his skin was reddish, likely due to the stress of birth, as happens with many babies who appear flushed when they are born. Therefore, Esau was not red-haired with red hair. This is a mistranslation of the original Hebrew text. Biblically, red-haired people are not descendants of Esau nor of Shem, and do not belong to the Semitic peoples. Red-haired individuals are generally associated with the Ashkenazi people, descendants of Japheth. Therefore, the Israelites in ancient times were not red-haired, blonde, or blue-eyed. In addition to the mistaken theory that the Israelites were red-haired and blonde with blue eyes, there is also a theory gaining popularity today that the ancient Israelites were a black people. However, this theory also does not hold up. If you ask any Jew or Israelite, including Ethiopian Jews who are black, they will tell you that they are descendants of Cush. Black people are considered descendants of Cush, and any rabbi would confirm this with the same words. Cush is recognized as the ancestor of various African peoples, and has always been biblically associated with the peoples of Ethiopia, Eritrea, Nubia, and Somalia. The term Cush is commonly related to dark skin, which gave rise to the African peoples. Therefore, the Israelites were not Cushites, as they were neither black nor blonde with blue eyes. The ancient Israelites, like other Semitic peoples, had their own skin color and distinctive traits, such as the shape of the nose, type of hair, and eye color, among other phenotypic aspects characteristic of the Semitic ethnicity. The Semites, including Jews, Arabs, Syrians, Iraqis, and others, possess a light skin tone that tans easily in the sun, acquiring a bronzed appearance. They generally have wavy hair, an arched or hooked nose, with many Jews having a more prominent and arched nose, intense eyes, and elongated faces. These peoples are descendants of Shem, the son of Noah, from whom all these Semitic groups originated. For example, if you observe or speak with someone from the Middle East, or even search for photos of people from that region on Google, you'll notice that the Semites share a common ethnic pattern. If you have friends of Arab origin, whether from Lebanon, Syria, or any other region, you'll notice that the Semites have similar characteristics, such as the tanned skin tone, the arched nose, and the elongated face.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Recha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, you fellow believers of this truth, all of you supporters of this truth, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, I want to do a short video. Again, this video can go many different directions, hours on end if need be, because there's a lot of things I put in there for the short amount of that 12-13 minute video. Obviously, I wasn't going to play it all. But one thing I noticed is all these years that we believe Jesus was white, and I'm talking about us as so-called blacks, right, and natives. We all believe Jesus was white, right? We believe the Jews were white. We believe everybody was white. And they allowed us to believe that. And they put up the depictions and all the pictures and put it in our history books and gave it to us in school. That was all good. But you know what happened when the true biblical Israelites woke up, and then we start saying, no, they didn't look like that. And then here comes the motley crew, the cleanup crew, to say, well, no, he wasn't white, but he was this complexion or that complexion. And our people fall into that, right? I had own family members tell me, no, well, he wasn't white either, but he was some middle. Look, he either got color or he doesn't. Somebody make it make sense. But this is what they do, and this is the hatred and the racism that was instilled in our people, which have now funneled down from the gullible, right, on down to, the rest of our people who are really destroyed and trying to learn. So this is madness. So when you go to Deuteronomy, I'm going to try to make this quick. Deuteronomy 28:64 says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth, even unto the other. So you got to make that make sense. So according to prophecy, the true biblical Israelites will be scattered from one end of the earth into the other. And of course, in Deuteronomy 28:68, he said that we would be bought into slave ships. But the scholars who are not prophets, they literally say, this went back into Titus and Vespasian, and I did videos on that. What would be the reason of mentioning slave ships if you're going on such distance that you didn't even need slave ships on? If I'm getting taken to jail and I'm in a paddy wagon, why is that even going to be notarized in the book, right? Or somebody writing it, unless it was trauma on the way to that prison, right? In that paddy wagon, and that's what happened to the Israelites. But that's another video. So if the Israelites are scattered and it says, "Thou shalt serve other gods," then we understand that we would be looking like other people to a degree. But the majority of the Jews came here, right, in other parts, the South America, the islands, and then we would be scattered all across the globe. So how the hell does those people in that land claim to be the people, and they all look like one people? So some miraculous way, they all got together, look like one particular people, and put themselves in that land. The worst person is a thief. The worst kind of people are thieves that steal your identity. And it's crazy that this society upholds thievery. The root of it is thievery, but they're against it. You do some identity theft, they want to give you time for it. And this man is the greatest, he has the greatest mindset on identity theft. Greatest history of identity theft. Now, like the Divine Prospect, and I'm going to say, well, those people in that land, they're Japhetic. Well, where were the Japhites? Right? Over there, Europe, Russia, and various other places in there. This is what this man does. He goes and he takes people's lands, right? Identifies with their heritage and say that they're them. If you ask me if you ask the average 15-year-old, what is the look of the great American, right? They would tell you somebody with blonde hair and blue eyes, or just white. When we know the original Americans wasn't so-called white, they changed the name and they named the land and called themselves white. They did the same thing in Europe. The original Europeans was not white. Here we go again. So now they've managed to take black and white and then or colored and non-colored, and then come up with some other race. This is what they do. Let's go to Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord answered, let me go to 3. For the vision is yet appointed for an appointed time, but the end shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Meaning we're supposed to suffer it, right? Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires hell, and at his death, is as death, and not can be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. There's only one nation of people who does that right now, man. Right? Let's go to Genesis. Now we're going to go to the nitty-gritty of this lesson and get some context and prove that the Israelites were so-called black. Right? There was many other nations that were so-called black. The Arabs so-called was so-called black. You got to understand, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, they were all dark nations. They were all dark nations. So for whatever reason, we're the people of Cush, right? And then he says the Ethiopians, they identify their ancestors as Cush. But some of them, a good portion of them, identifies them as going back to the actual Israelites. So I don't know why he made that up. But okay. But you do know there's different nations amongst dark people. And then they associate Africa, the continent, right? They associate it with just black people. When you look at the map, you see the whole area was so-called black. But yeah, this is what they do. Anyway, Genesis 25 and 19. Let me go to 22. Well, let me go to 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife. By the way, Rebekah was about 13, 14 years old. You can look that up. But they say we're pedophiles, right? But we're saying, according to history, this is what happened. There was older men that messed with young women. They were still women. Remember, a man doesn't have a clock on fertilization. Women do. Anyway, so if you wanted to get a son bad, you took young women where their eggs and their fertility were high. Right? Anyway, and these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padoram, the sister of Laban the Syrian, right? And this guy went in all about the women and their heritage and lineage. Look, that does play a part to some degree, but the lineage is coming through the father, and that's what matters. That's why it says Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Is not mentioning so much of the wives. They do mention the wives because they play a part, but because they're all part of us, right? But the main thing is the father, right? Anyway, it says, and then Isaac entreated the Lord to his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated to him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. The children struggled together with her. She said, "It be so. Why am I thus?" And she went and inquired of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. We're going to get into that too, about the ruddy thing. 2 nations are in the womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So we clearly see, let's go on. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, right? And the elder shall serve the younger. And the days were fulfilled. Behold, there were twins in the womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, right? Okay, he said it had nothing to do with hair. Does say likened unto a hairy garment. But we're going to understand something. This text doesn't say ruddy. See, along the translators, when you look at, let's go to 1 Samuel. And we're going to get a history on that. I did a video on that not too long ago, if you want to check that out. 1 Samuel 16 and 12. Now, we went on the Hebrew Ammoni and, everything that meant, but I'm just going to try to hit the points here. 1 Samuel 16 and 12. That, let me see here. It says, and he sent and brought him in, talking about David. Now he was ruddy with all of beautiful countenance. So, during the time of the 1600s, they had a problem with the actual word and how they translated it. And for whatever reason, ruddy, which comes from the brownness of the ground, and healthiness, all of a sudden turned to red. Yeah, that's what they did. So in Genesis 25 and 25, and the Lord spiritually didn't allow them to put the word ruddy in there, although we would have broke it down, but it said red. But here, why does it say David was ruddy? Why didn't it say in this text that he's red? We're going to show you why. Let's go up a couple of translations. And the scholars know this, right? And where did they get it from? The Bible is the 1500s, 1300s. It says, so he sent for him and brought him in. This is the NIV. He was glowing and with a healthy appearance and handsome features, right? And the NLT, it says, so Jesse sent him, David's father, right? He was dark and handsome with beautiful eyes. Do you know those people over there try to call themselves black now? I've seen a video on it. Damn, everybody wants to be us, but they can't. Accept it. Your fate is coming and the truth is out, right? Let's go to this other translations. It says, the Bible of, here, 1535, Coverdale Bible. Then sent him and caused him to be brought, is Old English, and he was well colored with fair eyes and beautiful countenance. It's kind of crazy. All these years they called us colored. They're colored people. They made fun of us, said all these things. All these years we didn't know this was in the Bible, right? Now all of a sudden, being colored has nothing to do with us. See how they flip it on and off? Yeah, that doesn't look good for them, man. So we're going to get some more context, and then we're going to bring it on home. This is 1 Chronicles 9:20. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, right, was grandson of Aaron, right? Phinehas, I believe he's the grandson of Aaron. Eleazar, the ruler over them in time past, and the Lord was with him. Did you know when you go into this word Phinehas, which we went over that several times, the word Phinehas means the mouth of brass. I'm going to read this little article, and it's even in the blue letter, right? And it says, he says, as a writer, I was curious as the meaning of the name Phinehas, which is the mouth of brass, or means brass mouth, which exactly does that mean. Now, when you go into, I believe it's Obed, David's line, his name also meant the brass pillars. And when you look it up, watch what it says. The mouth of brass is from Old Egypt, and it means the Negro, the son of Eleazar, the high priest. Why are they trying to hide that? But people like me and other brothers, you know, and maybe some sisters may have went in and studied this. So what I started doing is going into the names of some of these great men in the Bible, the men that was well known, and they all, like, everybody had so-called color, so it wasn't no big deal to say, hey, I'm black. The thing was, either through some form of trauma or to beautify themselves. They had a king of Europe that called himself black, right? I can't remember the name. Some brothers may know it. So we go here to Job 30:30. So that word Phinehas means the mouth of brass, which means brass mouth, which means so-called black. And then when you go into it, this is why Yahushua, the one you call Jesus, was described as fine brass, which is refined brass. Did you know the word brass didn't come into play till the 15th century or something like that? If I'm not mistaken. How they define brass? So then they made brass look like golden or something like that, like they could have been of another nation. They always tried to hide it from us. Fine brass was actually dark because you had to burn it and refine it. But, you know, they don't want to tell you that either. Anyway, Job 30:30, my skin was black upon me. Now, we know he didn't have to say his skin was black, but because of the, you know, the turmoil. I've never seen somebody white turn black. Nope, not from starvation or any kind of trauma. You just don't turn black. That's through some scientific miracle. But a whole nation of people ain't going to do that. So you can't get around that. And this is actually to say in the text, not Jeremiah 14:2, but in the text here, it says to have black skin, to be black of skin. Of course, they try to dusky and whatever else. And, you know, they're going to do that, you know. So anyway, there's so much overwhelming evidence that the children of Israel, of so-called people of color, they stole all our heritage, stole all. If the pictures was already white, why the hell did they have to repaint the images? If they were already so-called white, they could have just beautified them. But they had a thing called iconoclasm, image destruction, and they destroyed all the images and painted the images in their name. Why would they do that? The same way they went to the Japhetic people, the Native Americans, the African people, and everybody else and claimed to be them. The same way. This is what they do. This is why it says 2 nations are in that womb, right? And when you look at Genesis 25 and 25, it says one came out like a hairy garment and the other came out normal, red like a hairy garment. So this is telling you this is still a Shemitic people. Esau is still Shemitic. So where the hell did he get that from? If he's still Shemitic. But these are 2 different nations. And we believe it's this man that's today that's ruling the world. And it makes sense when you look at the history, you look at the present, and you look at how the future is going. Whose face is on the money? How'd you conquered everything? Right? What has been done to the children of Israel? That's all, like I said, we can go into 30 other lessons on that to prove that. But I wanted to prove here that, look, it's either you're colored or you're not. But then they just make up their own race and say that, oh, all of a sudden he was olive complected. That's what they're saying. When olives is green, red, or black. I never see nobody green. And if you red, you damn sure now. Oh, one more thing, real quick. This word bloody, ruddy comes from bloody, right? They tried to say it meant red, originated Old English 1100. They had problems translating it, right? But listen what it says. Ruddy was also used as a slang to avoid saying bloody. So how the hell is that a healthy complexion when it's bloody? Somebody explain that. Now this man named who did this was, it says here, the evidence of ruddy in 1689 in the writing of Edmund Hicker Ingill, the Church of English clergyman, controversialist, who was charged with fraud, right, is also recorded as adjective of the Old English period in pre-1150. Ruddy is formed within English conversations, the etymology of ruddy. So that should tell you right there. So how is that healthy to be bloody? The sun, the sunburn, come on, man. You stand in the sun, although some of our people look white, I'm not saying that. But with 0 melanin, you stand in the sun, you need suntan lotion. How the hell is it? Like, not that black people can't get sunburn, the way the world is now and the chemicals, right? But wait a minute. The plants have chlorophyll, they're green, the trees have bark to protect them, the animals and insects and everybody has fur and coverings and layers. But this people that he's talking about doesn't, in a whole. And that's healthy? Yeah, somebody got to explain that one to me. That's all I have on that. Shalom.